Hello, everyone. It's probably very dark, but that's because of the time frame I'm recording. And I wanted to catch up with you guys and have a talk about how wonderful the energy is right now. And yes, I have launched the other YouTube channel, but because some of you haven't jumped over the other side, I thought it would be best if right now I did a very quick update on this channel so that those of you that are going, what the bloody devil is going on right now? Why do we feel so shit? You actually get a bit of a heads up. So, how are we enjoying the energy of astrology and how it's making us feel right now? Are we feeling liberated, or are we going the fair-based frequency of going, oh crap, penny little, the earth's bloody falling down? Because in Perth, WA, Australia, I can tell you, yeah, I'm a day ahead of some of you guys, and especially the Leo King, the way he's been talking, it feels pretty intense. I've talked to Mark, I've talked to Giggle, I've talked to Moon in Cancer and the daughter-in-law and the son-in-law, and everyone's pretty much feeling the same. And you're probably all wondering why the devil it's feeling like this. Now, I'm not a super experienced astrologer, although I have spent a year researching it, and definitely with Mark, it's been very interesting educating myself on it. Interestingly enough, a lot of the planets at the moment, as Mark was saying, is all in the subconscious, so to speak. And Mark and I were discussing it earlier, and it's almost like, and I did pick that the energy that was coming through psychically for me with Mercury was almost like Mercury retrograde. Now, more than likely, it's because of the eclipses. That's the frequency I'm picking up intuitively. But on top of that, because the sun and the moon will be working together, so to speak, it almost feels like they're butting heads. So it can be the way we come across is a hell of a lot of bloody ego. You may notice I'm being super careful about checking in with myself, and I think that's really important for us right now. Very incredibly important to get to a point, because all of us have got bloody potty mouth going. All of us have got that fair-based frequency. We're fatigued from 2018. We're looking at our finances. We're checking in with our emotions. We're asking, do we want this or do we want that, or what path's better, what path's not? And we're really, really super triggered right now because we're thinking, crap, is this year going to be the same as it was last year? No, probably not, but probably in a very, very different way. But it's not, how do I put it? The energy that we've got going on is we can't go back. That's the reality. We can't go back. So even if we wanted to, we can't. And you know, some of us have gone, do we bother? Do we bother doing X, Y, and Z? Do we bother trying? And it's a very, like I said, it's a very strange frequency. Now, I don't know if you have realized, you know, and it's not, how do I put it? So again, I'm being very careful about the way I'm communicating. You need to be very mindful when you're looking at readers right now. And it's not that they're bad people. It's right now where the planets are placed. We're saying it how it is. You know, it's very blunt. It's very, very bloody blunt. And again, it is aspects of the ego, because our fair-based frequencies, our perceptions, our perspective, and what we learned is being pushed. So you really do run the risk the way the planets are going at the moment, especially moving into the eclipse. If you've been waiting on someone coming in, you might not want them to come in right now, because unless you can be self-aware, you're in big trouble. Big, big trouble. You don't want to be stepping in no cow patty, because that's the risk you're really going to, you know, move towards. So what you've got to be mindful of is at the moment, we're moving into this era where it was really addressed through the Leo King, and he was saying, we're going to have this tribe mentality. And in the tribe mentality, it's this pocket of people are my belief and my collective. There's no other perspective and perception. That's very dangerous. The thing is, if you've done the work on yourself this year, what you have to be asking yourself is, what is your belief system, very separate to another person's ego? Because especially moving into the eclipses, we're all super triggered, and we're getting to a place where our belief is the only belief and there's no other paradigm. And that's a very, very dangerous place to be. You really need to just concern between, especially with readers, where you are spiritually. Now, like I've said before, if you're triggered and you're actually listening to a video and you spiritually don't feel in alignment with that video, you must click off right away. We are in a very risky position right now to be super triggered, unnaturally so, more so than usual. There's also the perspective that, when we listen to readings, we have to be mindful that energy, there is no time, okay? There's no time on these scenarios, but because we are in a frequency, when recording in such a heavy frequency, a lot of what's coming through will be the collective heavy. So I'm sort of super happy I semi-recorded some of the videos before this was coming up, because I was away from that frequency. It's extremely heavy. Now, we're pretty much saying to ourselves, we need to get our crap together. And at the same time, when we're saying that, we're in ego. And it is a choice, but it is, as long as you understand the weather of the planets. The weather of the planets right now is, we've got penny little going on. We feel the world's coming down around us, but it's not real. It's a frequency. So we need to calm down. We need to just relax. We need to understand that if we could endure 2018, we can endure this. It is a very uncomfortable feeling. I was saying to Shelley earlier, how to get grounded, and Mark and I have talked about this before as well. It's almost like if you were in an office environment and you could not walk outside on that grass and put your feet on the ground, what would you do? And I laughed and I said to Mark, well, I have a wood table, and I literally spread my arms out across the table and I was holding it. And this is what I said to Shelley. I said, really today, where I was at, I was looking at, business and different things I wanted to achieve and different things I had to do. And it's been so busy. And all I could think was, how do you put it? Lie on the floor and get grounded. And that's simply because, you feel like the world's falling down because it's so heavy. So when you're listening to readers, try not to take it personal right now, because look, I can speak from my personal perspective. 2018 for me, I have spiritual friends, and as spiritual people that are reading on YouTube, and the Leo King even mentioned it, it did really take a toll on us. So energetically, we do have to be mindful that we need to come to a place where, if you need to get grounded, you need to be honest with yourself. When you're speaking, maybe be mindful of your speaking, so that when it's coming out, you need to check, are you coming from a place of ego? Is it because of the vibration? Is it because that person is bringing something out in you and you're judging them? Because there is a lot of judgment going on at the moment. It's almost like I'm seeing the scales. We're in a judgment state. If we don't have it correct and this person doesn't come correct, we're going to hex and beast them, so to speak. And it's really not going to help. And it's really not showing that we've spiritually evolved. You must look at the astrology as a weather forecast. And the weather forecast this month, and I did say that from January, February, it's going to be hard innings. It's really going to be hard work for us. We're going to need to accept that if there's going to be a tower moment, it's divinely guided. Trust it. If shit's going to turn to shit, let it turn to shit, and you can clean the mess up. Just trust it. Try not to grab on, so tightly to the point where you feel things can't be corrected. Things will be able to be corrected. It's just you need to trust in the process right now. Now, when it does come to you know, people coming back into your life. A lot of you might be really, really, like I said, with the energy of the planets triggered as hell. Now, it can be nervous energies, and moving into the eclipse, there is potential for communication. Providing you're mindful and you're grounded, whatever information comes to you. And I had a few triggers this week with various things, and it was I had to sit there and I had to think of the person's perspective and the reasons they were saying that. And we need to be aware with the moon, there are things hidden. So don't jump the gun right now and feel, ultimately speaking, you have all the information. And if you're making a judgment, are you making a judgment based on filtered information, lack of information, you know, the puzzle completely not being put together, but casting a judgment upon that scenario and falling back into ego with anger, and then maybe feeling foolish directly after? You know, we're moving away from 2018 feeling so friggin' exhausted. We also are looking for a magic pill, a magic solution, right? But we have learnt that a lot of what we actually did have to complete last year, we wish there was a magic wand. We wish that there were things that could have just swept that aside and made it all perfect. But we really had an aspect of a bed of roses and walked into an apocalyptic event, which is what it really felt like. Cleaning up that mess, we realised with fatigue, with retrogrades, it was extremely exhausting. So we've just moved into 2018, and of course our ego on top of the planets is saying, let's just get rid of 2018. Almost like, to a degree, a hidden memory that we wish to sweep under the carpet, but the pain body, the exhaustion, and the memory of it is still semi-connected. There's a time frame of that to dissolve, so to speak. So we need to understand with how fatigued we are on top of the planets, it's making it super heightened. We also were talking about the aspect that it felt like a retrograde. And oh my gosh, are we reliving the same again, as I mentioned, 2018? It's not that we're reliving it. A lot of what's coming up is unfinalized situations that now are coming up for a look at. And they were things that were supposed to be completed in 2018, but many were unable to do that because it was not divinely guided. So it coming back in the here and now is feeling like we're going over old ground, but we're actually not. We're tying up the loose ends that were residues of 2018. Is this making sense? Now, we do have the solar eclipse. Now, like I said, some of you are going to start feeling exhausted. Some of you may be hitting the carbs hard out of nowhere. The exhaustion is a funny frequency because it's like you feel physically exhausted, but at the same time, you can't sleep, some of you. And that's because you're getting a lot of downloads. Your mind is like a super processor right now, thinking at 100 miles an hour. Chiron at the moment is really interfering with the aspect of our pain body experience. So it is triggering us more so than we usually do. So especially in the placement, is it in Aries, Mark? I can't remember now. But we've got the nodes in Cancer and Capricorn. For those zodiac signs, yes, it will be higher because the nodes go backwards, right? So in a sense, they're in that, how do I put it? It's sort of like a family frequency at the same time with the Capricorn energy being very strict. So we're being strict when it comes down to our foundation. And really, when I was looking at the astrology, a lot of base chakra was coming up. A lot of family-related dynamics, you know, getting the structure correct, getting everything grounded. So, don't be surprised if you have abdominal pains and lower back pains and scenarios like that. Pay attention to your body. Your body is your chakra system. So if you're getting pain or energies coming through in particular chakras, you're needing to utilize that chakra more heavily. So eating the food groups in that area is going to help balance you out. Your smudge stick, your salt baths, placing a bowl of water under your bed when you're really triggered and you can throw that out the next day. Drink lots of fluid. We need it to dilute, and to detoxify, because we're moving into a frequency where it's supposedly a manifestation, but I still firmly believe, trust in the process. We need to move ourselves away from ego as soon as possible. I mean, that is coming at the 6th. I would strongly suggest by the 5th, you are trying to be centered. Very much get to a place where you're tuning out and you're being mindful of every action, every reaction you're taking. Because the reality is, the planet's being in a pain body situation. We may be in a bit of ego, and what we can actually accidentally manifest is a negative situation. So we need to, perhaps, if we are in that vibration, try and occupy ourselves during that time with positive scenarios, be it we are merely listening to meditation, be it we are filling our day with chores or whatever we need to do to preoccupy ourselves, but we need to have a healthy go-to to keep our mind occupied. Because if we intuitively start going over all the things we're fearing, being the moon it is, it's a manifestation moon, and it will be super powerful because of the aspect of the solar eclipse. You're actually going to manifest the negative. So you're going to need to be very mindful to slap yourself out of it and get yourself into alignment ASAP. If there's things you need to get done, get it done. But if you need to rest, you must rest. Moving into the next phase is going to be the total eclipse. And again, that's where endings come, but it can be a purge. At the same time, it can be a 3D situation happening, but it needn't be if you are in alignment. If you have been doing the things you needed to do, you will flow through the energy fine. If there are things that are unresolved and unfinished, it will be shown. And there can be mishaps that happen around that time. Deal with Mercury at the moment like it's retrograde, and I would say that's probably because of the solar eclipse coming and the total eclipse. So with us being in pain body experience, it is a very egoic state. So on top of it being a very egoic state, it's like Mercury retrograde with potty mouth. So you might say stupid shit. Okay, you might say things that you really, really, really wish you didn't say, and you're just like, and I'm really getting to a place where I'm trying to think before I speak. It's painful, it's necessary, and it's very interesting. We're having a hard time to communicate. Hello, neighbour. We're having a hard time communicating. So if we're coming to a place where we think only our perspective is what counts and only our pain body experience counts, then when we're talking to another person, we're not listening. And if we're not listening, we're getting the wrong information, but we're projecting from ego, which is going to cause a fight. And not one person. It's not a winning situation. Communication is a two-way street. If you're only communicating from your perspective, you might as well be talking to a wall. If you're communicating because you wish to understand the other person's perspective, then you need to stop, okay, and listen. Because your perspective is not the only perspective. And I was talking about the language of love the other day, and this was with a group of my friends that are spiritual. There was Mark, there was Shelley, there was Darry, Giggle, And we were talking about it, and it's interesting because there has been a lot of heart chakra coming up lately. And with the heart chakra, what I've actually found is um, when you can channel, okay, a lot of us have these gifts, which I do need to try and do some workshops on it to help you understand how it's done. Twin flames do it quite well because they're intuitively connected. But when we move away from ego, we understand we can do it with many people when we practice. And it is about listening, being present, checking in with yourself, sensing your vibration, getting to a point where you don't question what you're being shown, but you try to put it together like Humpty Dumpty. So you're getting the download, you're following your intuition. But this is why sometimes you do need to get to a place each day. You have half an hour, no technology, where you can hear yourself and your feelings. You know, we detach so frequently. The reason we can't do these things is because we're not giving ourselves time to connect. The connection first comes from self, in knowing self. Then it's trusting source and the things you're seeing, number synchronicities. Number synchronicities don't just come down to twin flames. It can be directly connected to your twin. It can be connected from source where they're trying to tell you something with what you're dealing with. You can also have dreams, which will be very different. They'll be repeating dreams and they're giving you visions and information. And it's not just the dream in a square box. It's the other things and elements within the dream that over time, when it comes closer to that premonition coming full fold, what will happen is pieces from that dream will start coming through in the 3D to give you confirmation that, in fact, something's coming through, that you are in alignment with that timeline of what's coming. Numbers, yes, there have been numbers. What I am seeing is we are running the risk right now of really having, how do I put it? Ruining a situation that could be coming into perfect harmony. But we do need to understand how to talk to a person's heart, and that's by channeling why that person is coming from a perspective. It's not that it's right or wrong. You will not be able to communicate with another person if you can't grasp the concept of why they're coming that way. You know, that's very important. So a lot of the heart chakra that's going on is to activate us, but it's also for you to actually understand that, you know, if we're coming from the heart, we directly have compassion to the way and a reason why a person is reacting in a certain way. But if we're not and we're coming from ego, we're manifesting that to be a negative kind of conversion back and forward. So we must get to a point where we're actually able to trust our intuition. We need to balance that. But also understanding in heart chakra why that person's relating that way. And then we can find the words to communicate to that person and govern through that scenario. But there is a lot of readers at the moment that are getting quite triggered. And it is connected to the astrology. They are very, very fatigued. They've been working hell for leather through the retrogrades. So great love towards them and everything they've achieved this year. It's been arduous, to say the least. It's been quite hard work as a reader. And then to try and not let clients down while we're purging as well, and then rescheduling, etc. You know, we have to be in our best frequency in order to give the very best readings. So when we are mindful of this, where, you know, there are a lot of readers that do tend to prepare for these time frames where they can become grounded and have some time out so they can actually communicate effectively with clientele. Any questions? Try not to clash, because I do feel a lot of you will have communication. Don't take everything as gospel with the total information that's coming through. With it coming through, be patient for the rest of it to flow through correctly, you know, when it's divinely guided, and try and trust in that process. But it is going to feel heavier as the days progress. Yeah, look, a lot of us are very vague at the moment with our mind. trying to finalize tasks. That's true, but it is every person's perspective at this point, and it depends on the vibration. It depends on where you are in the world. We may feel very good one day, and then another day it'll be like, oh, sugar, So it can shift very quickly, and it is going to become very intense. So, and very intense is an understatement. It's not going to feel nice. So, try and keep as grounded as possible. But just be mindful of, I think it's very important, if we are mindful about it, it can help us actually cope. Yes, a lot of them have actually shifted energetically, but I have opened the new Twin Flame channel and I do most of the Twin Flame stuff on that side now. So if you are wanting to join, there is the link that I have put on the other videos, and I will put it on here directly after, and you can jump through because I have already done a live session over there for the Twin Flames. So if you do want to go and have a look at that, jump through, and it's got a live update as to what I was psychically seeing. And in the days coming, yes, I will do more updates. Plus, there's the Twin Flame videos per Zodiac sign and your astrology update on that side too. Yes. Any other questions? If you are wanting a booking, the website is the same, and I have put that information there. I have put a in the community tab. I have actually put the website in the community tab of how it looks now, so you know that it's both channels. And I've had to rejig some things on the actual website for the birthday coupons and that. I do believe they initially were only for the shop. I've tried to change it, so tell me how it goes. But if you've got any dramas, just inbox me and I can manually book you in. I've been feeling right. Look, a lot of us at the moment, I think energetically where we're at, it's yay or nay. It's really yay or nay. And I do feel a lot of us, look, try and be very present. I think a lot of the reasons why we do get very triggered, apart from the astrology, because the astrology is a very different thing. We have absolutely no control over that, and that really can impact our frequency. A bit like the ocean, with the tides and the moon, it impacts. It's the best time of a new moon or a full moon to plant because the water table rises and the plant has a better chance of surviving. And it affects, our water within our body. We're made of fluid. So yes, planets do affect us, and the frequency is going to be pretty bloody heavy. So separately to that, we need to be present. So the reason we tend to get triggered is because we're projecting. The projection forward is fearful because it's the unknown. The recollection of the past is a trigger point because it's pain body experience, but it's gone. So you can only really and this is why 2018, for those of you who were working with me, with other readers, you were working on yourselves, working through those frequencies of that pain body experience is going to get you grounded because, this is a transitional point moving into the age of Aquarius. And I mean, if you guys feel in any shape and form that emotionally or spiritually not balanced, that needs to get worked on ASAP because by 2020, a lot is shifting, and it's not for you. If you have a lot of pain body experience internally, it's going to become harder, not easier. So it must be dealt with because you're wanting to leave that dead weight behind you. We're becoming lighter body frequencies where we're moving forward. And if we can't dump the junk, you're dragging that with you, which is really going to pull you back, and it's going to be a very difficult transition. So, book a reading or talk to a specialist or talk to somebody who you feel divinely guided to and connected to help you work through your blocks, to help you get some tools. I'm going to try and put tools on the new website. It's going to be a very busy year for me, but I'll do the very best I can, as I'm sure all the other readers are. We're really extending ourselves, you know, with Jupiter to try and create better ways of doing things to navigate it. And supposedly by the first solar eclipse, a lot's supposed to change. So I'm sort of in limbo at the moment, saying I'll wait and I'll see the clarity I gain. Some of the things I've implemented may yet change, and that's because of the planets. You know, we may find errors in the way we're doing things and think, hey, maybe if we could do it in a slightly different way, we may. Um, but yeah, just lots of changes coming this month. Yeah, but that's like I said, it feels like a retrograde, but it's not. It's because of our frequency. We've got, you know, the wounded healer in our hemisphere, Chiron. We've also got, you know, the nodes in Cancer and Capricorn, which is family and us being strict. So it's like, you know, looking at the foundation, trying to get things done. And then it's the financial aspect of things. And we're looking at being strict with ourselves there. Saturn, you know, Jupiter, expansion, but we're tired. We had 2018. And that's really why, for me personally, I chose not to go out New Year's Eve, because I looked at the astrology and energetically I saw that if we were getting to a point where we were caning ourselves with alcohol, we weren't looking after ourselves, this was going to become very uneasy for us moving forward. So having the detox as soon as possible, which is what I'm going through at the moment. You know, I'm going through a detox. Listen to your body. If you're needing to rest, you must rest, and try and go with the flow. As the month progresses, we should be out of the woods. We'll have a little bit of a braver mid-month, but then moving into the total eclipse, that'll be a different frequency, but they're meant to be positive. So even if they end up being negative in the interim, they will end up being positive changes in the high road. But many of you are getting to a point very separate in a soulmate or twin flame path. You're going, you know what, sod this. But it's the frequency of the exhaustion of the time frame. It would be a very different frequency if your spiritual connection turned up and spoke to you personally, and you could assess it then. But try to keep coming back to the here and now. Try to keep navigating back to you being grounded and understanding your life is as relevant and as important as theirs is. And a lot of feminine's awakenings did take a lot of time to navigate and balance, you know, and after tower moments, it's very quiet. So a lot of what they are dealing with at the moment is really trying to get grounded and balanced. So things will be revealed very soon. Oh, I've had some very interesting things happen. I've had very interesting things happen. I'm not even going to go down that road about conversations and things I've had happen. It's bizarre, just very bizarre. I think, who was it? I was talking to Giggle and Mark. You may find if your vibration's very high, which would have been about 3 days ago, not now. People may start noticing your light body frequency. And you may have people coming towards you in quite an unusual manner, being quite attracted to your light. But you probably are none the wiser that you're holding this frequency. And yeah, the oddest things were happening to me. Pizza dreams. Cool. Gold dust in your nostrils. Sweet. Yes, I must admit, I did. There was, I think it was about 3 nights ago, there were actually about 10 people I know of that were having really bad dreams, and it was like an energy in the room. So they were unusual dreams, and then it shifted and it went to a nightmare, and then it went. And it was all on the same night. I think it was about, when was it? Prior to New Year's Eve, I believe. Very strange. Yes. It's like we're jumping timelines. It's very strange. And we're really trying to kind of bring it all together. Yeah. It's bouncing. It's like sometimes, like even the smell of the air is correlating with a different timeline. It's very strange. It's like it's all merging and really trying to bring it all in and anchor it in. Any other questions while I'm batting hair on the bloody stepped? I was talking to Giggle earlier and she was like, "What is this?" And I went, "Yes, that lovely frequency we all have." And I was like, "Oh, well, if we're feeling shit, I'm sure the collective's feeling shit, so we might as well have a chat." I feel like, yeah, tech support. All right, I've got mosquitoes. Have you noticed an increase of particular insects in your location in the world? Pay attention to it. For me personally here, I have noticed a lot of species that predominantly live in humid tropical zones, and that's quite unusual for us. So there's an increase of butterflies and caterpillars and ladybugs. So it will govern, it will show you what sort of weather pattern you'll have by the insects that are breeding at the moment. So pay attention to that, guys. Just woke up in the weird mood and I was very moody. Yeah, that's what I mean by we're going to have to do breathing exercises. We're going to keep having to come back to ourselves and try and stay present in the here and now, because it is quite a large trigger point. Most welcome, Jonah. Yeah, well, I had male and female cracking onto me, and I was like, okay, this is a very interesting day. Yeah, it was like, are they seeing something I'm not seeing right now? I was like, okay, I'm just saying. And who was it? Was it you, Mark, or was it Shelley? She was like, the light. They're attracted to the light. And I'm like, what bloody light? I'm like, who left the lights on? I was just doing my thing. I was like, cool. It's not happening. Very happy. Hi. Do you miss me? Yeah, strange, eh? Any other questions while I'm here? People will open doors for you. People were hugging me and trying, and I was like, hi. Where are you? Are you still at your daughter-in-law's and your son's? I tell you. Any other questions? I got people asking me for help everywhere. You probably find if you're coping with frequency, those of you who have done spiritual work this year and you're feeling more, balanced, you'll find people will directly be attracted to your vibration. And I really did say that people that are more aware in self-awareness, which is crown chakra activation, and they've gone through the crap of the purge and that they would actually be physically witnessing things going down like Donkey Kong, and you're just going, I've just got to watch this happen. And it's physically, because sometimes the only way we can spiritually learn is to experience something. And it's an aspect of a lesson. So, it's, how do you put it? It's not through wanting the person to fail. It's through not being within the ego to feel you know better than that person and trusting that that's what they need to go through themselves personally, and not be in that egoic state of you need to do this because I've been through this. So therefore, if you don't do this, that'll happen. And that's ego. You know, it's like, okay, obviously we don't want someone to get hit by a truck. But if you've told them, you know, and it's on deaf ears and they're choosing, you have to accept a person's personal choice. And if it's directly impacting you or triggering you, especially if you're a twin, that's an out of alignment situation where it's control related dynamic. And you must look at why that's going on with you, because that will really hinder your journey. Yeah. And it's, you know, while you're in that frequency of thinking you need to run, thinking if you've got to say the word sod it, I'm done, you know, it's a lie. I'm just saying, because it's pain body. If you are, if your chakra, right, if you're in the here and now, you're navigating from mindfulness, okay? You're being in that moment. If you're worried about tomorrow, you've already stepped out of alignment because you're not here right now dealing with the 3D nature of what you're doing. Yes, we can actually see, but that's allowing a download to come. But at the same time, if it's triggering you to know what a potentiality is going to be, there's something going on in the here and now right now. Trusting, you know, being punched up by universe last year does humble you. But if you're still sort of struggling, it's because you are looking at the perspective of what you learnt before and it affected you. And you're looking at what you believe in the 3D right now to be a potentiality, and you're going, I can't correlate, so it's not going to happen, so I'm going back into pain body experience. Shit's never going to change. Pain body experience. Then if you can't see with the moon energy clouding it, which again is intuition, feminine frequency, it's because the moon energy is there. But in this moon coming up, clarity is going to come to you. In the next moon, you're going to release something which can be a purge, but you still can't have a purge on either side. Many people do purge either side, but at the same time, a lot of the times close to the moon, a lot is not shown. So you've got to govern through your intuition. But if you're not trusting intuition and you don't have a healthy relationship, you're operating from ego, which is going to trigger you. So that's why I say it's very important to work with the moon and the sun frequency. Where's the ego at? The ego in the high frequency will get you to move and get crap done. In the lower frequency, you can project, and you can even be to a lower degree where it comes across as a little bit narcissistic, and you're triggered and manipulative. And the moon energy has a darker side too. It can be to the point you go into victim consciousness because there's no clarity. You feel you can't make decisions because the other person hasn't moved in a particular way. Therefore, if you budge, what if there's a tower moment? There could be a tower moment pending anyway. So for you spiritually, if the nav man's telling you you need to move, you need to move, but not from a triggered point of view. From a reality 3D point of view, I need to do this because X, Y, and Z in my life is going on right now. And don't get to a point where your life becomes less, that you're not actually operating from a happy place. You know, you have hopes and dreams as well. It's not all for that one person. That person, you know, whoever that person is that you feel you love. If you have no hobbies, if you have no hopes and dreams, you're a walking empty vessel, and you can't uninvest in yourself that way. And if you do, it can be due to pain body experience, but you must find something in your life that you directly connect with your light, or you'll lose your sense of self. So be that a vegetable garden, be that your walking or your exercise or your gym, be it a career or your art, whatever it be for you personally, and that's males and females collectively. You know, a lot of times when our partners are doing things we don't like, it's because we need to find something wonderful in our own lives. But there also must be a healthy give and take. And if that's not there, that's the subject matter that needs discussing, not what the pastime is, but more what can we come to a compromise with now. And speaking from the truth, you know, when we are in pain body experience, we don't tend to communicate correctly. Communication shut down. But we can say that they're not communicating correctly, but we're actually not, because we're not finding through their heart chakra what's their communication technique. You know, we were talking about an aspect of this earlier, and I've got many friends that have partners as well that play PlayStation. And I was talking to another girlfriend separately to who knows that I was talking to them earlier, hint, hint. And even with me, you know, I've had partners that have played PlayStation. It's like this checkout notion. But at the same time, sometimes it really served a purpose, because it meant, you know, if I wanted to do something around that time, I would. But then if it dominated the day to a point where it was hindering the connection, then it was something that directly needed dealing with, and it was healthy boundaries. And sometimes, and you know, I was talking about this morning, the way males actually comprehend things and work it out is very internalized. And, you know, women do really take that quite personally. It's not a personal thing. It's their technique of unwinding, because they're a processor. It's like a super machine. Give me a problem and I'll find a solution. But what women need to understand is when we're communicating, are we wanting a solution? If you're not, you need to help that person understand that you're just venting, okay? And then they can check that brain wire out, and they can allow you to just purge. But if they feel that you're saying this is what's going on, what they're actually hearing is I'm a problem. And then their mind shuts down because it's all too much. So, and then it will come across as a cross wire frequency where it'll just come across as nagging. So the man's brain will shut down. I'm just saying. So how else would I better explain without getting my head shot off by the local community? Okay, so a person's pastime, we each will have our own pastime of what we do that we feel spiritually great. Women will communicate thinking that's the key to the solution. That's the key to the problem, is if we communicate, therefore that's the only solution. It's not. That's your technique of communicating. Then to understand that the male's aspect of it is maybe to show, maybe to do. But if you don't ask what you need, because they need a direct thing that you think they should be doing. So if you then were to say, I would like it if we could have half an hour of hanging out because I really miss you right now. They'd be like, okay, I can negotiate with that. But if you're saying all you do is X, Y, and Z, they're like, here we freaking go again. Here we go again. What do you need me to do? What do you want from me? You know, sometimes, a lot of times when we're saying it all, it's like, blah, blah, blah. It's like, wow, I'm hearing a whole lot of problems there. And that's the 99 problems. And the partner at that point, they're thinking, oh, I'm the problem. And what it really is it's one little thing. I actually right now, I'm trying to say that I really miss you. I'm actually right now wishing that I could have that connection with you. And then you can just go back to do what you want to do, because I got what I needed. And now I'm just going to go do what I need to do. But it's like, why do we need to, hi, Luciana, why do we need to be to the point where if something in our mind isn't correct and it's something that they value, that therefore the whole connection's over? It's like, it's not. It's just that's their world. What is your world? They're two paradigms, and we're trying to make that person our tribe, but we bought them off the shelf. And we bought that puppy home, and it was like, isn't it great? And they were like, no, I want to change you. And it's like, no, you bought that puppy, okay? You bought that puppy. And now you got it home. You may have changed, but maybe they haven't. But can you still make a compromise for that puppy? It's still going to need to be fed. Do you know what I mean? It's a really shitty example, but it's just an example. And look, sometimes for masculine frequencies, if they've been working and then they come back and they're checking out, it's because their brain needs to slow down. So it's doing something mundanely so to just be in that frequency of, if I'm focusing on this, I don't have to focus on the 101 problems I've got in my head. And you know, it might be something in our minds in modern society that we feel is maybe not so great. And it does disconnect. I mean, we are really getting on technology way too much. Hi, Chris. And it's like, okay, can we come to a happy medium? Could we play it together? I mean, I get a bit too competitive, so I really suck at first, but then I'm just like, you best be getting the hell out because I'm going to beat you, because that's just the way I am. That's just the way I'm very competitive. My brother would play PlayStation all the time, and I think it was Guitar Hero, and I was getting so pissed off. It was like, this guy, I'm doing the dishes, I'm cleaning the house. We were all living together during a recession. He went to work one day, and my sisters laughed at me. I was like, give me that frigging guitar. And I discovered I was a lefty, and I was like, okay then. And I didn't even know that was something, you know. I just started playing the guitar. And my sisters were going crazy. They were cooking, they were doing the dishes, and I'm like, I'm going to beat this bugger's ass when he gets home. And so I just kept playing, and I think it was Metallica 1. And he walked in the door, and I go, get on here now. And he was looking at me, he's going, what? I went, you, me, buddy, right now. And I said, I get to pick the song. And I picked the song, and I whooped his ass. One day. That's how competitive I am. Never played it before. One day. I was playing it 12 hours. Thanks for shouting, Mark. Oh. Yes, I am a bit competitive. He was surprised. He was like, what are you doing? It's like, look, you know, we can't. It's like, if you can't beat them, join them. If you don't want to join them, find something else to do, like laundry or something like that. You know, I'm just saying, just something else. Go get a dirt bike. Go hang out with your girls. But if they're not compromising, yes, Houston, you got a problem. You know, and there has to be fairness. I mean, look, masculines need to get this too. If you're having a relationship with a computer, have a relationship with a computer, but don't lie about it. Don't lie about it. If you want a partnership, there is equal give and take in a connection. And you can't expect the man or the woman, whoever it be on whatever side, if both of you aren't working at that, it's going to fail. And it's not rocket science. It's laziness. So, you know, food for thought. We can make compromises, but we also have to be considerate towards each other. And we need to use our big girl words and big boy words. Yeah, I can use my left or right hand. You know, the good old days of growing up, and the teachers were like, no, love, you need to put the pen in that hand. So, yeah, I'm at the dinner table, and I can eat with the fork on both sides. I prefer it on the other side, though. I can write with both hands. Love you, Mark. Yes, but I must admit, there has been a few, and they're great readers, but I do feel because of the planets at the moment, a lot of people are in trigger mode. So it's like people I would often listen to, it's like, oh, they're getting triggered too, which is great because it's showing they're human. But at the same time, it's like, just be mindful of that. Try not to get too triggered. Try not to judge them. But yeah, just be aware because it's pretty heavy frequency at the moment. Yes, I'm ambidextrous. Yes. It's probably why I'm psychic. Kind of like the other side of the brain a bit better. Check out. Don't give your power away when it's someone else's fault. It's actually your... It's hard though, because when you see the bigger picture and you've invested in a connection. Now the camera's gone. There. Welcome back. It's hard because when you have connected in a connection and there has been an agreement, which is what a lot of twins went through, it's like, how, man? I thought we were going down that road. And then it took a 360 and you're going, now I'm pretty sure we were speaking English. Yeah. And then you're going back and you're like, did I miss something? Did I miss something? We were going that way. Everything was peachy. We were going, and then you psychoanalyze it and you're like, no, surely not. Yeah, but it's like, it's so funny, but you're trying not to get in the ego about it. And you're like, look, damn straight, I know we were going that way. And everything was hunky-dory and bed of roses and peaches. But if it wasn't, that should have been communicated. But as I say, everything's divinely guided, right? We either had, no. I can't even say it was miscommunication. It was no communication. That's the path there. We're walking it, right? Better be careful. We're in the kind of funny season at the moment. But yeah, we've learnt a lot. I'll say that much. A lot of us have learnt a lot. Communicating, being straight, knowing what we want, knowing what we don't want, knowing that there's no turning back, knowing that we do energetically, all of us do want to move forward. We want a better scenario, whatever that looks like. And it's got to be perfect. But we can't be the old people we once were, but we're going to be the new version of ourselves of what we are now. And that's everyone collectively. Yes, but the planets of what was happening last year was quite unique, and it was something that was really changing particular groups. But with that change, girl, what was happening is, look, I even looked at the things that I learned last year, which is videos that I really need to do. There are times when we're trying to save someone, right? We don't know we're doing it. We have the ability to. We're looking at the picture and we're actually looking at them and we're going, far out. You know, they're having a rough time and we have the ability, and it was like, everything once this is done is going to be okay. That's the rescuer mode, but that also is a frequency of codependency, because you're believing that you can fix that scenario and it's going to be perfect, but you're not actually having trust in the process. So in that frequency, you're also not looking at yourself, which is the shit you need to deal with. And you're also not having faith in that person that they can deal with that. Even if they're falling down and they've got blood on their knees, that they have the ability to fix that. You've also got the other frequency of running. And, you know, if you are running, who are you running from? Because you're actually running from yourself. There's many things we can fall into, but the reality is, if a person is blocked because of pain, it's actually not completely their fault, because it's been such a harsh frequency that they've been through. It's portionally our fault too, from not being mindful that there was something that was out of balance. So we can't ever blame one side. You know, I did have a lot of bad things happen to me last year, but if I step back after the fact of learning, I now can look at it very differently and say, hang on a minute. For instance, you know, if your love interest suddenly was single and you're going, blah, 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 why hasn't my twin come back to me? Allowing that person to energetically deal with the crap that they need to is part of the dynamic. Yet, because you can be looking at it going, oh my God, I've waited so long. Where the fuck is this person? You're actually not getting the bigger picture. When you're having an upgrade and you're working through your blocks, things like that, it didn't happen overnight. So the person you actually were getting, energetically, if the person was able to deal with those blocks, they would have been a very different person towards you. Some things we do, actually, we don't know we're doing from a painful experience. We don't know that. And it's not excusing it. It's mainly saying we're judging the situation based on what we experienced. Coming from the heart is understanding why they reacted that way, and then having a secondary understanding of, well, shit, if I'd known that, I probably would have dealt with that very differently, because I would have allowed that person to heal and I would have been aware that they weren't ready for a relationship. And, you know, your fear-based frequency might jump back and go, but shit, then they're going to find someone else. But then if they do, they're going to. We have no control over that. You know, you spend so long worrying about, but if I don't get this right, then they're going to run away. They're going to run away, they're going to run away. And if they can't see the value in you, they weren't worth your time. And if they do love you, let a bird free. And if it's going to come back, it was always yours. But if you have to keep chasing it, it's not yours. You're living in Alice in Wonderland. You have to let it go. You've got to trust and have enough. Look at the light inside you and say to yourself, am I not worth the very best in this world? You know, do I feel that I'm not lovable? And why do I feel I'm not lovable? Because that's what you're going to get from your twin. That's what you're going to get from a soulmate. That's what you're going to get from a karmic, is what you believe you're worth. I mean, it's very hard to sit there alone and not be afraid and not run away, but you must do it. We all are going to fail. It's part of life. We're all going to lose. We're all going to hurt. It's part of love. You can't have the good without the bad. Just saying. You can't have cold coffee. It's disgusting. Well, I've got used to it now. I'm a parent. Yes. It's just being in the moment, you know. I just think really being in the moment is super important. I mean, gee, if you look at the time frame, you go, wow, this has been a long time, you know. Are we kidding ourselves? Are we being foolish? Are we being this? Are we being that? Gosh, we should have got our life together by now. One of the biggest things that is our enemy is time. And it's not the fact that time exists, because it theoretically doesn't. It's man-made. It's more our focusing on it so heavily. Time's always moving. Things are always changing. But the fact that we actually focus on it triggers us more. I'm running out of time. We have good every day. Stop thinking good is tomorrow, because that's living for tomorrow. Live for today. Somebody asked me, I think it was Darry's daughter-in-law. What are your what did she say? Giggle? Not giggle, Darry. What are your to-do lists for this year? You know, what are your New Year's resolutions? I went, no, none. And the reason being is because if we think of yesterday, that's gone. If we think of tomorrow, it's not here. But what we have is right here, right now. And it's about moving the goalpost all the time. It's, yes, okay, it's very good. And I've always been a planner. I was super planner mode all the bloody time. I was never in the moment. I was, but it was working on tomorrow, not working on today. So it's, why can't we be in the moment each day? Well, you know, in half an hour, something very exciting could happen. I don't know. in 10 minutes, something really exciting could happen. Like, why can't we be here right now and just be very present? Yeah, it's like because it scares us, man. And especially with the astrology right now, we're not in that mental place to think about tomorrow. If you need to, yes. But if you're getting triggered, grab the carpet, lie down on the floor and cling. What do they say? Drop. There's plenty of tower moments in life. You know, we're looking at our finances. Some of you might be moving home. Some of you are wondering where you're going to pull the cash out of. Some of you are wondering if you're going to get a job. You know, am I going to have enough contracts? Is this year going to be better? Yeah, fetal position. My ex used to say that. Yep, stop, drop, and roll. But mind you, when you feel that way, you're thinking the roof's going to fall in. So you're not, usually looking at the bloody floor. You're thinking, where could I hide? And a rock would be preferable. It's because you're thinking. You just got to stop thinking. You got to give your brain a break. And that can mean, and a lot of you guys might even get to the point where, how do I put it? A lot of the times that we're doing readings, especially live, you may find readers might reduce that. And that can be due to the planets. And I mean, it's about us using the tools that we have, or booking readings, or getting that help where we need be, reaching out, but not getting into that fashion of recycling. But hey, what can I use in a sense of a tool to help me right now? But definitely, in trigger mode, if you feel you need the tools, book readings, or book a counseling session, or whatever you feel is correct for you personally, to help you work on those aspects, even sometimes just to talk and get it off your chest, to have that bit where you can actually help yourself get grounded. I think it really helps. And definitely I've been very blessed. I've had Luciana, I've had Jen, I've got Giggle and Darry, and Kimberly and Mark. It's like I have so many wonderful spiritual friends. I've got, my girlfriend Lauren, who's very spiritual, and I've got Kelma, and I have wonderful people that I know that are my tribe, but I live alone. I've got my daughter, so it goes that way. But I will have to go. The computer is going to go flat. So I will have to plug it in and then sign out. Signing off.